checking our traffic time there, 309 Delta Alpha, turn left base for runway 5.
Good morning and welcome to the official C1 Thalassa talk show, Thalask About It, where we talk all things analog. I'm your public affairs officer and host, Gabriel Bugai. As we progress through this talk show, we encourage you to leave your questions in the comments with the hashtag AskSEA. We'll answer those questions at the end of the show for about 10 minutes, but today I'm joined by a very special guest, Dr. Ruffin, the interim chair of the Daniel Guggenheim School of Aerospace Engineering here at Georgia Tech. How are you doing today?
Good.
Awesome. It's great to meet you. Do you want to share a little bit about yourself to the audience?
Georgia Tech. Time is 8:21. Good morning, astronauts. I have been instructed to play a very special serenade on behalf of
students, bachelor's, master's, and going through the world to change the world. They support space and aeronautics, unmanned aerial vehicles as well too, and all kinds of amazing systems and programs. So glad to be leading those efforts here within the school. We have amazing faculty here and incredible research underway. So glad to be doing that. I'm also a professor in aerospace engineering. And I'll mention that I'm also director of NASA's Georgia Space Grant Consortium, which is incredibly rewarding work to get more folks interested and excited about STEM careers in general, but especially training them to be able to support aeronautics and space as well. That supports college students as well as high school teachers and K through 12 students as well too, to build a pipeline that can really meet the nation's needs.
Awesome. Well, I mean, sounds like you're a very accomplished individual that we're lucky to have on our show. So I'll get into our questions right away. My first question for you is, why did you join aerospace, or what got you into aerospace?
Oh boy, what got me into aerospace? I think for many of us in this field, it's something that feels like it's in our blood. Just this thrill of being involved in systems that really take amazing science and put it into action in flying vehicles. Just always been thrilled about that, from high school age and beyond. I knew I wanted to be involved in some way in this type of field. That helped drive my decisions about where I wanted to go to school, where I wanted to get degrees, and what I wanted to major in as well. So really, I've continued to pursue that dream. This mission is one where we've got astronauts that are in this environment. When I grew up, the Apollo missions were still underway, and I grew up watching some of those and really being excited about those as well. So got on that track from a pretty early age, just being one of the things I was really thrilled about. I was probably around 13 years old or so, and learned that my father was a Tuskegee Airman, and so amazing set of aviators that flew in World War II. And I started to understand that maybe this whole aerospace, this aviation and space, maybe it really is really in my blood. And so that was an additional motivator for me to pursue the passions that I have. So,
I mean, I think you put it perfectly that it's in our blood, because I mean, with my family, my lineage comes with a lot of pilots. So
Yeah.
a lot of my cousins are pilots, a lot of my grandparents and beyond were pilots. So it's just kind of, I wonder if there's any research that's been done to see the effect of like your grandparents' profession and how that, I mean, I'm sure there has been, but the profession progression, I guess.
Yeah, I think that certainly can have an impact as well, and I think, and so for me it was kind of confirmation that this was something I might want to continue to pursue, was doing it, and then really it continued to speak to me. And I do think there are a number of folks that either don't have that lineage or don't know about it, and there's something that stirs in them to dream and to be passionate and successful about what you're doing professionally. There's got to be a dream attached to that. So I think that even those that haven't come from that kind of background, you come from a background that had a lot of that in it, and I did too. But even for those that aren't aware of that, letting them know about this. That's why I appreciate what you're doing here, is really getting out the word, making things accessible to those, whether they're in small towns or big towns, any part of the country, that this can be for you as well too. And so this is a driving part of my passion as well too, and why I do the work that I do. And there are amazing folks here at Georgia Tech and really at many other universities too, that are passionate about spreading the word and helping folks find what really makes those dreams come alive for them.
Yeah, perfectly put. Well, let's talk a little bit about your post-secondary education, more about what you did outside of your education. So what kinds of student organizations or extracurriculars did you participate when you were getting your degrees?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was involved, I would say I was involved in the National Society of Black Engineers chapter at my undergraduate institution. This was an organization I engaged in quite a bit because it's engineers, so it's all of us kind of nerding out on things we like to nerd out about, and not all aerospace. But and this was being involved in that was great because we had a real role to play where we were. We engaged students with industry partners, held career fairs, talked about graduate school and gave information about that. So it really was a service activity that supported students across the campus, open to every student across the campus. But that created a lot of, and I think built a lot of leadership skills, allowed a sense of service and passion, and to take what I learned and what some of the upperclassmen were learning, and then instilled it into the younger students as well. So that was a campus activity I was involved in quite a bit. I would say the other thing outside the classroom that I was involved in a lot, or really two of them. One was research. So began doing research really not as early as the opportunities are now. Places like Georgia Tech, we've got a lot of research opportunities. Most students, well, 80% of students graduate doing some sort of undergraduate research. Almost 70% are doing internships or co-op activities, so there's a lot more opportunities now. But for me, doing research for the last 2 years of my undergraduate program was really foundational for me, both experimental work and then computational work as well, taking what was learned in the classroom and really making it real. So that's one other thing outside the regular classroom. And the second thing is internships. So I was fortunate enough to have some internships at a NASA center, NASA Glenn Research Center,
awesome,
in Cleveland, Ohio. And so did that for a total of 3 summers during undergraduate and graduate school. So that was that work on a range of projects was also very foundational and motivational as well to keep learning and excelling and realizing that if I did my best and had some success, then that additional doors would open. And that's what I've seen happen, and that's what I see happening for so many students here at Georgia Tech.
Awesome. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of stuff that I'm hoping to experience in my undergraduate. So it's amazing that we have these opportunities nowadays. I mean, I know some friends who were getting into research their freshman year, which I was like, well, hold on, I need to step up my game now. And it definitely helps when everybody else is kind of in that same mindset.
Yes. And so it's a different world, and I'm just so excited about the kind of opportunities that exist. And it's not all research, right? Some of it, Georgia Tech, we've got 4 rocket launch teams that are underway. We've got folks that are doing design, build, fly, building aircraft. that are competing and collaborating. And so, so those types of experiences where you get practical experience on campus and some of it off campus as well, in really honing the craft that you're developing. And this is a big ethos here at Georgia Tech to be able to do that. You're aware of some of the opportunities, but so it's research, it's clubs, it's competitions, it's other collaborative projects as well too. It's internships and co-ops. So the more that happens, the better. When I was a student, CubeSats didn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, UAVs didn't exist in the mode that we know them now. So design wasn't what it is now. So students are designing spacecraft, designing experiments for those spacecraft, being involved in launching them, operating them, and the same we see on the aeronautics side. So the opportunities to do that are really enriching the types of students that we're producing, the types of aerospace engineering students that we're producing that are ready from day one to really have an impact.
Awesome. Well, that kind of segues into my next question. You kind of touched on this a little bit, but how do space-oriented student organizations enhance a student's education?
Yeah, it's really getting that practical experience. So it motivates you to learn in areas that aren't structured within a course, and there's value in that. There's value in exploring. There's value in working with your peers. There's value in someone handing you a project and you have no idea how you're going to do this thing, and know that you need to do some research, you need to talk to some others, and you need to work together. You need to learn how to communicate with others, work on a team, be accountable for what you said you were going to do when it needs to be done to get that thing done. And those are incredibly valuable experiences that build upon what you're learning in the structured classroom environment as well too. And I mean, our courses are folding in more and more those types of experiences, but there's some knowledge that you need as well. We need to give you those things and assess you on those things, but it's just a beautiful thing to see how that learning and that experience really creates better engineers, better leaders, and also helps folks find what their passion is within this field or other fields.
Exactly. I mean, it really allows students to apply what they're learning in the classroom to their actual life and learn or experience while learning.
Right.
And that's what I've been very grateful with Southeast Analog for is I've learned business doing Southeast Analog as an aerospace engineering major. So it's interesting to see how interdisciplinary all of these organizations are too, because they kind of operate as in a way like a business or a separate organization, even though they are under Georgia Tech. So it's just truly amazing to see how all this has helped.
Yeah, it's the interacting with those that have skills in other areas and you learning something about that. With Southeast Analog, I mean, this is a multi-university effort as well too, so you're getting experience from those across the nation at several different schools, a variety of majors, so all of that kind of interdisciplinary nature really is helpful. So at Georgia Tech, there are a number of opportunities for that. Even some you can get class credit for, like our vertically integrated projects courses that bring together an interdisciplinary set of students focused on a project. And the vertical part of it is first year, second year, third year, fourth year students, sometimes graduate students working together on a variety of projects. And so that's one of the many opportunities here to do that. The more that you bring together team members that have a wide range of skills and experiences and passions and ways that they see things, the better. This is a strength for team projects like this. This is a strength for our nation, and so getting folks with a variety of experiences together and making sure that they're engaging and impacting leads to true innovation. So.
Yeah, well, you put it perfectly.
Yeah.
All right, my next question is more oriented about you. So, as interim chair of the Daniel Guggenheim School of Aerospace Engineering, how do you see yourself supporting these aerospace organizations on campus?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there are a number of student organizations and other engagements that are in the curriculum as well, either as required or elective courses. So it's working with faculty and others to make sure that we continue to grow those opportunities. So that's one way. Supporting faculty that are advisors in student organizations, supporting faculty that say, hey, we have this great machine shop. So how do we create a credit-bearing course that is going to teach students about manufacturing? Either advanced manufacturing, we're working on opportunities to create more opportunities in digital manufacturing as well, digital engineering. So it's continuing to look for opportunities to grow the skill set of the students that we have. So that's one way. And we're also looking to, because we have so many team projects and so many both competitions and others as well in the classroom and outside the classroom. It's really working with the Institute, working with the College of Engineering, the state of Georgia, to give us more space to do this. Because you know that we've been growing these opportunities. We need more assembly space for student teams to come together and build rovers of all sorts. And we've got indoor flight labs, right? But we need larger ones. We need more sophisticated ones. We need to create more opportunities. So, we've got a campaign underway
for the new building.
To build a new building here in aerospace engineering, and we're so excited about that. We've got an amazing set of funding, and we're still raising additional funds as well to outfit it. But that's going to open up even more doors for students and faculty to work together to connect what they're learning in the classroom to hardware operations, fail, find something that breaks.
I need some more of that. I need some failure exposure to
find something that breaks, which won't be intentional, but it'll happen. This is so. And then how do we re-engineer for robustness? How do we re-engineer for greater safety? How do we re-engineer for greater efficiency and lower environmental impact? And these are some of the priorities that we have for our school overall, and we're continuing to bring in more and more faculty that have that ethos and know how to do this in a variety of spaces, and are engaging with students. So.
Well, awesome. I have one more question for you.
Okay.
As more and more unique student organizations come to existence, what is one you hope to see in the near future? And this doesn't have to be related to aerospace. If you're wanting, I don't know, water ski club, something like that. But
there are a lot of student clubs, and there are and student organizations, and there are more being created. And I love all of them. So I think I want to say that I want to leave it to the students to figure out what new areas they want to touch, because there are a variety of those out there, and I don't want to mention one and imply that it doesn't exist here.
Yeah.
When I think about that question, actually, the first thing a couple of things come to my mind is whatever that passion is, what Southeast Analog is doing is a unique experience here, and I don't think I could have thought of that.
I couldn't have either. When I learned about it, I was like, what is this?
Yeah, because innovation is within our entire community. It's students, it's faculty, it's staff. So I don't want to pick one.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would say is there are a couple of things. I would say that focusing on the more we make those opportunities known to as many students as possible, um, and as wide a variety of students as possible, whatever the field is. It can be our Yellow Jacket Flying
Mm-hmm.
Club. It can be our Rambling Rockets, our GTXR. But how do we ensure that we have folks? Yes, you might have some of your friends, already friends, involved.
Yeah.
But how do we intentionally reach out to a wide variety of populations of students? And so I think that helps us, and I think that every organization can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other thing is, how do we connect those organizations? They're already connected with faculty and research, but how do we connect those organizations with industry partners as well too? So I think taking that as a priority for wherever it makes sense to take it. What did you say? You said surfboarding or something? What did you say?
Water ski.
Water skiing. So maybe there's industry connections there too, right? But I would say these student organizations engaging with industry partners, reaching out to them, again, build some of what, I mentioned much earlier was one of my passions as an undergraduate is really increasing linkages between industry and students as well too. We do that through career fairs, but we can do that through the type of work that Southeast Analog is doing as well too. So I think every student organization should be thinking about that too. So that's really my advice, is think about how to best connect with industry and how to best open the doors as widely as you possibly can.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today at our Mission Control Center. It's been an honor to have you, and we look forward to meeting with you in the future again. Awesome. And just giving you more updates on how our organization turns out to develop. But again, thank you for your time today. We'll have Joey take you off the show and finish up the rest of your time at our MCC.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome work, and thank you all for viewing this.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Now we'll transition to our next segment. We have some footage from Sol 2 of our mission. We're very excited to recap some of that. First, I wanted to show our astronauts each day will be taking footage, video, photo throughout the habitat, just of kind of what they're doing. And they downlink that to us at the end of the day with the 20-minute delay. So when we receive that, we're able to go through it and review some of that footage. To improve our simulation, we will be recording our interviews with the astronauts instead of having them live on the talk show. This makes it so that they have that 20-minute, or we have that communication delay, and that they wouldn't be able to actually meet with us live if they were on Mars, so we're trying to ensure that. But if you have any questions you would like to ask the astronauts, we ask that you leave those here today, and we will uplink those to them tomorrow, so that on Wednesday we can go over some of those questions you may have for the astronauts. So if you have any of those questions, leave them in the chat with hashtag AskSEA. We love the engagement that we get from you all, and we hope to see it coming more and more throughout the mission. But today, let's talk about some of the cool things that the astronauts did yesterday. The astronauts did a lot of EVAs. They had 2 EVAs, one unscheduled and one scheduled. So the unscheduled EVA was for the purpose of addressing some signal issues that the astronauts were experiencing. So the astronauts had all their suits out. They had all of that ready to go. We can take a look at some of that footage and see just the suits laid out and how awesome that is. And then the astronauts then had to suit up and get ready to go on the EVA. With that, sorry, I was just hearing that just now. With the astronauts getting ready for the EVA, they, I believe we just had Commander Galloway go out on the EVA because the EVA was close to the habitat. It wasn't too far from the entrance where the router was to make sure that we were getting our signals out there. Commander Galloway had to suit up. There's some photos of Galloway in donning the EVA suit with some of the other astronauts, sharing some fun moments, selfies, getting some good footage with each other, having a good time. But before an astronaut goes on an EVA, they have to endure a period of pre-breathing. So on an actual EVA, which stands for extravehicular activity, an astronaut will need to put on their suit and breathe the pure oxygen that they will be breathing nice and slow for a good duration of time. I believe hours is set to either 15 or 20 minutes, but those astronauts have to sit there and go through the motions. Even though they aren't breathing pure oxygen in our case, because we don't have pressurized suits this year, they are still going through the motions of if they were going on an EVA with a pressurized spacesuit. So in these suits, it's really cool. We have a strong ventilation system, as well as, which also is very loud, but also we've been working to get headsets for the astronauts to be able to communicate in their heads or in their helmets without having to speak with a radio outside of their fishbowl helmet. But for yesterday's EVAs, they still had to speak with those because I believe we were having some technical difficulties, which is what they were trying to fix. The astronauts ended up going out of the habitat during the day, which is typically a time we don't want to do our EVAs, just because in Arkansas, for simulation purposes, one, it's green, so having sunlight on that greenery makes it a little bit less like Mars, but as soon as it hits nighttime, it's looking like a little bit of a Martian landscape. Another reason why we do that is because it's the summer and Arkansas gets very hot, but because this was more of a rapid situation that we needed to address, we had Commander Galloway go out there and try to fix the router. So we'll take a look at that footage. There's about a 10-minute clip of Galloway, and we'll just go through and talk about it. So I believe in the start, Galloway is just kicking her feet around, getting ready to head out of the habitat. So they're doing some checks to make sure that they can hear each other.
Ariella and Kumesh, what was that green card? We're not getting airlock pressure telemetry because we're having telemetry problems. Green card is the green
And during these EVAs, there's two astronauts who end up, we can only send two astronauts on the EVA at a time. This is due to only having two helmet packs that will support the crew. We can't have them go out there without a helmet because that wouldn't be very Mars-like. But the other astronauts stay in and communicate with the astronaut. Again, we try to send two astronauts on an EVA at a time to make sure that they aren't in any danger. If something happens to one of them, they'll send them out, or they'll have somebody there to support them. But for this EVA, it was just Commander Galloway because our other helmet was currently non-functional. But Galloway is now heading out of the habitat. And you can just kind of see here in a moment the stairs at Titan Ranch. Kind of get some of that long time feel of an EVA exit.
You have 52 minutes. Okay.
And here they're just making sure that things are ready to go. Yep, so now Galloway is heading up those stairs, making her way out of the habitat. There's a couple stories to go, but since they are deep underground, it adds to the experience, we say. She has some tape with her to help her secure the router.
Hello, comms check.
There you can hear a comm check going on.
Hello, comms check.
Again, another comm check.
Okay, I think because my phone's in airplane mode, I need to redo that, but I just got to the top of the stairs, so give me a second.
So again, with the headphones, there's been some issues. So the astronauts have been having to use their phones to connect to each other locally as a communication source, as well as walkie-talkies. The cool part about a little bit of that sunlight is that you can see
Hey,
her
can you hear me?
silhouette.
Okay, sorry. My phone was in airplane mode, but I just got up here. Yeah, I'm looking. Okay, I see the router. I'm putting the
So you can see the router fell off the wall.
down.
Don't know if it was because the heat and the humidity was a little too much for it. Or I guess here in a moment you'll see the router, but
Okay. The router is on the ground.
mhm. And we try to avoid using Wi-Fi as much as possible.
But
That's
nothing
why we
was,
have
like,
so many Ethernet cables.
disconnected.
Here at the Mission Control Center, we also use
that make
Ethernet.
sense? I mean, like, something was, like, kind of bent, but I just put it back into its place, but it doesn't look like anything, like, the cable's still in it because it runs through the whole thing. But something was bent, so, like, maybe...
If you were tuning into the streams yesterday, you would have noticed that we
Hello.
hadn't had much of the habitat cameras up, and that's because we haven't had access to them for a little while, but we are working today to actually restore that access as well as our audio.
Wait, I can see... There's no light... Or, yeah, there's a green light now, and I can see Titan EVA on my phone, but I don't know the password.
And again, they use this router to help the astronauts communicate
Did you
to
hear that?
the astronauts in the habitat deep underground while they are out on their EVAs.
If you yell into the walkie, is that better?
And her camera just continues to go down a little bit as she bumps into the wall, but
Okay, basically I found it on the ground.
adds to the
Part
experience,
of it
you know.
was bent, and I fixed that, and there's a green light on it, and now on my phone I can see the Titan EVA network, but I don't know the password. Trying that now.
Inside that helmet, you can kind of see in front of Amanda's mouth is a little blue nozzle.
Fist my bump, 1, 2, 3, exclamation.
you you can hear the password there. That's a
Oh, okay.
that's a reference to Project Hail Mary. But in her helmet, there's the two oxygen or the two air filter pipes. Those keep the circulation going, and in front of her mouth is a Camelback water mouthpiece so she can drink while on an EVA. All of this was designed by our own people and entirely built by students, including the flight suits and the helmets. It's gone through prototyping and ended up...
I typed in fist my bump, Grace, 1, 2, 3, exclamation, and it's spinning.
Copy.
We hope in the future to improve our astronaut suits, maybe even develop a few more helmets to allow for a more realistic experience.
Amanda, do you want to move slowly over to the radio?
No, it's still helpful for me because I can hear you better through my headphones.
Again, this is footage from yesterday.
The WhatsApp.
What?
You're super delayed over the WhatsApp and it keeps breaking up. So the radio is better for us to hear you.
I can mute myself on WhatsApp. Oh, I'm connected to the Wi-Fi.
Awesome.
Hold on.
So it seems like they're getting some more connection restored.
Plug for me to show you when you get down here.
Okay.
And for those just tuning in, this EVA was an unscheduled EVA.
I am fixing, or I'm taping it down, but I'm pretty sure my phone is connected to it.
Yep. But
Can you repeat? I am connected to it. I'm taping it down more, but it says like no internet connection on my settings. I don't know if that's an issue.
but it says you're connected to it, correct?
There you can hear
Correct.
crew
Okay,
engineer.
I think that is fine. Let me just double check with CTO and I'll inform MCC as well, and I'll let you know. Just try to stay in the shade for a little bit while I double check.
Okay.
There you heard some communications inside the habitat that helped Commander, or that's helping the astronauts get ahead. But that was some very interesting footage that we had from the GoPros on the EVA suits, and it was a great experience, or great for us to be able to see some of that footage and share that with you. Again, we share the footage the next day because it isn't downlinked to us until the end of the day before they go to bed. So any footage that you see from the astronauts is day old because we have a communications delay. We can't have live footage from them, but sometimes you'll be able to see EVA footage come in live with that 20-minute delay. So happening a lot sooner than some of this footage did. But we had an actual scheduled EVA for one of the research projects, the ARAS rover developed here at Georgia Tech and being tested on site at Titan Ranch. That EVA had crew engineer Blackman and crew medical officer Larrazabal. And those two astronauts worked together to test the rover for the first time outside of the habitat. So you can see some photos of them suiting up and getting ready for their EVA. With that, they were able to pose with the rover and get some fun footage there. I know those helmets get pretty hot, so it's not so fun to have on, but they were champs and went out. This EVA was performed at night as scheduled to allow for more of that Martian environment feel, with just the gravel parking lot with the floodlights and no greenery in the background. So it really helped to ensure that our astronauts were experiencing more of that Martian simulation, whereas Commander Galloway's EVA was unscheduled and during the day. So now we will roll some footage of the astronauts outside of the habitat getting ready to test the actual rover itself. So you can hear, this is the footage from crew medical officers. Yes, this is the footage from crew medical officer Larrazabal's camera on his suit. You'll see that crew engineer Blackman is on the other side of the camera, but they have to get the EVA camera set up outside of the habitat so that we can both stream that and also make sure that we're recording and watching that footage for research purposes. So they're getting their comms set up.
Ariella, Emilio, do you copy?
There you can hear communication from the habitat.
Hello? Hello, hello? Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm good. I think Ariella is still trying to figure out the password situation for Titan EVA.
And there they're working with that Wi-Fi that was actually...
Yeah, so one question I did have is the rover, there's a railing for the wheels, and it looks like the bracket for the railing that's connected to the center of the rover has kind of come undone. One of the screws looks a little loose.
So you can hear him working on troubleshooting some issues that may have occurred with the rover.
Okay. Okay. Does that hexagonal screw work or no? The screwdriver? Okay.
So throughout the mission, the astronauts will actually not be controlling this rover. This rover is designed to be autonomous.
Okay.
But the COTS rover in the Bolivian salt flats will be controlled.
It's in the railing. The bolt is in the railing. It's not secured, but it is in there. Yeah, I'll turn it on. Okay, I'm pushing the button now. It is flashing green. Still flashing.
There they're getting the rover activated.
Still flashing. It does look like the router fell down again.
So I believe the issues that they were trying to fix on...
Oh, it's blinking. It's solid green with intermittent flashes. It's now solid green on the rover.
Sounds like the issues that were trying to be fixed on Commander Galloway's EVA ended up not lasting too long.
The tape is underneath the rover. Copy.
Please, Emilio.
Yep.
We're trying.
Now they're trying to get the camera ready. Again, this is the start of the EVA.
Sec, we're trying to sit with the camera. Umesh, could you hold on one sec, please? We're trying to figure out the camera still. It's not setting up.
All right, give us 1 second. Radio silence. Just give us 1 second.
You want to try a minute?
So trying to communicate with the habitat and
Slide to get onto the stand.
troubleshoot in the moment. But once they were able to get that camera set up, the EVA was able to be recorded.
Oh, I see how it is. We're good. It's a little. Yeah.
All right, and they almost got that camera situated. There you just heard the camera activating, I believe.
You want me to look at her GoPro? Okay.
Are you able to see if mine's on? The button on the side turns it on. There's a red bar on the top.
I don't see any red bars. 1 second.
Push the side button again.
1 second.
Alright, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Here, the camera's almost ready. Getting it plugged in for EVA live stream that occurred yesterday.
We see it. We have a green light and a flashing yellow light. And we have alternating blue and red on the front. No. Do you want us to unplug and try again? Oh, now it's solid blue.
Solid blue.
There they have the camera secured and ready to go.
Use the red bar on the side.
All right.
And if you'd like to see more of that footage, I encourage you to go take a look at our previous talk show, or not talk show, but live stream that occurred in the evening yesterday that had some of that footage for the EVA itself. We also have some photos of the astronauts out on their EVA. We have Emilio and Ariella posing with the ARAS rover in their fishbowl helmets. A lot of fun. We also have a photo of the ARAS rover itself out in the gravel. So that was right before the rover was actually able to go and get some testing done. The astronauts did an amazing job of troubleshooting the camera difficulties. Here at Mission Control Center, we have the same issues. It is not just a simulated Mars habitat issue, it is also it's a pretty universal issue. So we apologize for any communication delays that occur because of our technical difficulties, but that's what we're learning about. We're being trained, tested, and taught on this mission, and we're excited to see the new challenges that it continues to bring us, both simulated and real. Moving forward with a little bit of a recap on what the astronauts did yesterday. Besides those EVAs, the astronauts also participated on their last live interview on our talk show. They were on us with Zoom, but again, we decided to change our interviews from live to recorded so that we can enhance the simulation with more of that communication delay and really immerse all of us into it. So from now on, the astronauts will be receiving their questions every day, record them at a selected time, and then downlink those for our use the following day, where we can update you as the mission progresses. The astronauts also participated in the cognitive control experiment, which is owned by PI Soha Ali as well as Oso Soha Ali. So she is both in our Mission Control Center and one of our PIs. Her experiments are trying to gauge just kind of the cognitive productivity that occurs at various times in the day and just kind of what influences kind of downtime in our brain activity so that we can plan and be more efficient in the future and avoid having brain intensive tasks at times that may be otherwise cognitive decline. But the engineers also had a break from their exercise in the middle of their exercise to check on the humidity levels in the habitat. Crew scientist Nelson went around the water utilities in the habitat to check specifications to help us manually monitor our water tracking. We did have a water meter before, but we experienced some difficulties with that, so we are now going the manual route to still try to make sure that we have some of that real data along with our simulated telemetry. So that's a very interesting development, and excited to see the water levels being tracked throughout the mission by ECOM and the astronauts themselves. There was also some helmet repairs that took place that allowed for the 2 astronauts on the ARAS EVA later on in the day, not just Commander Galloway in the evening or during the day, but that helped. And there was also that unscheduled EVA to help deal with some of the internet connectivity issues, but some of those issues arose again with the router falling off the wall once more. But we hope to continue to troubleshoot those issues and see more uptime with our communications. There's also been some camera and audio issues throughout the day, both on our end and on the habitat end. We are actively working on those issues to hopefully restore live stream audio and habitat visuals for our viewers. So if you have any questions about that, leave them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them. We also encourage you to ask questions about the sols, maybe what a sol is, or what the astronauts are doing, what they're doing right now, that kind of thing. I'll give our best answers later on in the stream. But now I'm going to bring on our other PAO, Joey Garcia. He is from the University of Central Florida, and we'll be talking about University of Central Florida becoming Southeast Analog's newest chapter. So Joey, if you want to join me right here on the sofa, we can talk a little bit about that. So how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Do you want to share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to go into my 5th year of college, undergraduate, over at the University of Central Florida. I'm currently a pre-med, and I've been like leader of several different clubs in the past at UCF. So getting to be part of this is like really exciting.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're really glad to have you here. I mean, you joined in the summer, and that definitely helped us as PAOs because imagine trying to run all the talk shows and everything with just 3 of us instead of 4 of us total. So we thank you for joining on. And do you want to talk a little bit about UCF becoming a chapter?
Yeah, it's really exciting because University of Central Florida, we also have another nickname for it, which is Space U. Because when JFK actually announced that we're going to be going to the moon, just several years later, that's when UCF opened. And it's 45 minutes from the Kennedy Space Center, actually, and it's directly to help the operations there. So we have a really, really vibrant aerospace engineering program over at UCF.
Were you able to visit the launch complex for the launch of Artemis II?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Because
Yeah.
I'm actually from the Space Coast. So it's kind of funny when I went to college in Orlando, I didn't really think it's a spacey place, but then it was like Space U. I was like, oh, that's interesting, you know?
Yeah.
But even living in the Space Coast, you know, I'm so used to just seeing the rocket launches. Like I'm just driving home, I'm like, oh, look, a rocket launch.
Yeah.
But knowing like we are going to go to the moon, I said I have to go like watch this. I bought a ticket, I watch it there like on the complex.
Awesome. I mean, I'm jealous. I wish I could have gone down, but we watched it actually in this room in a live stream. But some of our people also went down and got to see it, and we got some really cool photos from, I think, also another person at UCF.
Oh yes, it was Alex
Yes.
Rodriguez. He was also a graduate at UCF and then studied in Georgia Tech also after he was undergraduate in UCF. And yeah, he also lived there in Orlando, so he went there and took really good pictures.
Yes,
there.
really good pictures. We were able to use that for some of our promotional material with his permission. So do you want to share a little bit? I mean, I know with UCF becoming a chapter, we're really excited here at Georgia Tech because our whole mission is to provide access to analog experiences and space research. And so having UCF on board with that as well to provide a physical space for all the UCF people interested in being a part of Southeast Analog to have a space where they can meet. That's just something amazing for us. And also, we hope to see you have like a training experience there where the astronauts aren't just always coming to Georgia Tech or wherever we send them, but also to our chapter locations. So do you want to talk about a little bit the efforts and planning that have gone into becoming a chapter?
Yeah, so the reason why we even considered becoming a chapter in the first place was we have some other flight controllers, Carolyn Conrad and Diego, what's his
I think Dunham?
Dunham, yes.
Dunham.
Both of them are also flight controllers, and it was really their idea, like, oh my gosh, there are several of us from UCF already helping with this mission. The fact that, you know, we came from like, there's so many people from different universities, but the fact that we already have a handful of people who just happen to find Southeast Analog, we said, if we establish a chapter here and really let people know, there's going to be a lot of more opportunity for people to come help in future missions. So becoming a chapter, we are going to be officially trying to get the paperwork out by August 31st. That's when they open up registration for new student organizations. And yeah, hopefully it should be really good.
Yeah, we're really excited to announce officially on our social medias that UCF is an official chapter, and we'll get all of that worked out on our website. I'm excited to see how Leslie and Wendy work out kind of like a map of where Southeast Analog is on in the world. So it would be really cool to put another large dot over down in Florida for UCF. We're really looking forward to having you all. I mean, you guys are kind of leading the way. You're our first chapter organization that isn't at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is technically a chapter of Southeast Analog, but it's also the headquarters, and most of the operations have occurred here. So we're looking forward to sharing some of those operations with you all. And I mean, since early June, when all of that discussion started, we've been working on getting our what do you call it? More chapters established. So there have been other people who have called in and scheduled one-on-one calls to potentially start a chapter at their universities, and we're really excited to see if we can have more Southeast analog everywhere. And we hope that people understand that we aren't just the Southeast. The Southeast part of Southeast analog, in my interpretation, is the roots of the organization. It's what we were founded in. We were founded in analog space in the Southeast part of the United States, but that doesn't limit who's part of our organization. I mean, we have people from all over. So what are you most looking forward to with the chapter?
I think the biggest thing is really just trying to figure out, because since we're going to be the very first, like, you know, Georgia Tech was the first, and then UCF were trying to also help with the mission. It's really trying to figure out, where's our place in this? How do we establish it that we continue to support operations? Because ultimately, when other universities end up opening chapters, they're going to see how UCF fits in with the overall picture. We want to set ourselves that we are supporting the mission and really trying to figure out how can we best do that, but also function as a student organization at UCF. I think that's really what's exciting. And I think having a community where you just repeatedly like come together and troubleshoot these problems, I think that's going to be like really exciting to work on. Because especially with this type of things, right? You know, there's so many clubs that I've been a part of at UCF. And there's been multiple professional clubs I've been part of. But this one, I feel like it's a little bit different. We're combining different fields of engineering and like research and medicine. And there's so many different fields that we're like trying to combine in this one project. And it's not just like networking, like, hey, what's your name? What's this? You're actually all working together towards this growing field in aerospace. And I think that's so fascinating to me and exciting.
Yeah, and I'm just looking forward to see all the work that comes out of UCF in partnership with Georgia Tech. I mean, being an inter-university organization is something we honor or pride ourselves in, and just strengthening that with a chapter is amazing, more than we could have imagined, especially after our first year getting a chapter and then having interest to start 3 more chapters across the country. I mean, that's a lot of early development stuff, but hope to see that evolve out of it and see you guys lead the way of how a chapter operates, and just kind of show the world that like Southeast Analog doesn't need to just be at Georgia Tech. Southeast Analog can be at UCF. Southeast Analog can be at University of Alabama or Arizona State. There's just endless opportunities, and our organization isn't confined to one single opportunity. And I'm just glad that we're able to expand those opportunities to you all. And I mean, I'm looking forward to also potentially having a place to spend when more NASA Artemis launches happen, come and visit you guys and do some team bonding, going over to the Kennedy Space Center and watch those. So
definitely, for sure.
Yeah, and I know you guys have Space Week as well.
Oh yes, Space Week.
Yeah, is that October or?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Space Week was in October last year, and I think it will be the same thing.
Okay.
And it's essentially this 1 week where UCF invites different conferences over on their campus. So we started off the week having like the National Space Society conference, and then in the middle of the week there was like space like business. So there were like a lot of space entrepreneurs, that type of thing. Then we finished off our week with research. So actually Space Week was where I actually found out that aerospace medicine was a thing, and got me actually excited. I was like searching up about space analogs and all of this thing. That's actually how I found out Southeast Analog existed. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Wendy Marara, one of our other PAOs the other day, and I mean, yesterday, she was telling me about how, this wasn't on the show, I don't believe, but it was afterwards when we were going to get lunch. She was telling me about how she found out about Southeast Analog by looking up different analog opportunities, because she found out about just analogs in general and was like, that's really cool, let me learn more about this. And she first learned about high Cs and then some of the others, and she was looking into some of them and she was like, man, I would really love to do this, but
Yeah.
I don't want to pay $3,000 to be a part of a program, which those programs are amazing and have great opportunities. But we wanted to take those great opportunities and provide them to more people at much lower costs, where you're paying for your travel and your lodging instead of also like that plus your like entry into it, or your fees, which it's really hard in analog missions to get funding because it's still a growing industry as part of the space industry, or a growing sector of the space industry. And I think a lot of people are really starting to see the importance of analog research and how that's really what's going to get us to a future of permanent, long-term like habitability on other moons, planets, long-term space flight, just anything that requires you not being in orbit around Earth, in orbit around another celestial object for a long period of time to do research or to do operations, just different things that we need to anticipate as a growing space society. And again, I mean, we've talked about this before, but being an advanced space society doesn't mean you have to leave Earth behind. Earth is a very important part of that, and that's why analog research is so important to space exploration. Because you have to do everything on Earth. You have to have a proving ground, and that's what we have here. So it's very exciting to just see how everybody's been learning about Southeast Analog in different ways, from social media to just looking up analogs on the internet and seeing that we're included on there, which is very exciting from a PR standpoint, that we're recognized or being recognized. But
it's kind of crazy you do bring it up, because that's actually how I did find out about Southeast Analog as well. You know, I think that's the beauty of like Southeast Analog too, is that a lot of the analogs, they're like these really high established things that you're just like, you get a little bit overwhelmed. You're looking at high seas, you're looking at like Mars Desert Research Station. You're like, oh my gosh, there's so many things out there. And then you look at some other ones, you're like, oh my gosh, they're in like Europe. Like that's too far from me, you know?
Yeah.
So like seeing that we have an analog now that is specifically designed by students, for students, students doing research, I think that's really, you know, what's driving this forward. It's a really unique experience and very accessible for anyone to join.
It's definitely a core part of our organization, and I mean, if not the core and the heartbeat, that the students' work is what makes this analog possible. I don't think we would be we would be able to function if we had like adults in here, but also another thing is that when you graduate with a degree, you're looking for something that will sustain a lifestyle and allow you to be able to live and thrive. And so making a profession out of analog is a bit of a challenge, because again, funding is a very big issue with the analog community. Everybody has to find their own ways to get funded, and thankfully we were able to find so much external funding for this first mission and be able to budget and get by with just a little bit in emergency funds to support us if anything goes haywire. But like, it shows the dedication that, because students have the motivation for the experiences that they gain professionally to keep them going and establish a career in actual space exploration. So it's amazing that we were able to come together as students and be for students and continue to keep that at our core, because I mean, if we aren't serving students, I don't know who we're serving. Our whole point is to provide experiences to those who need it professionally, and those who are motivated to really develop and expand their horizons. So I'm just glad that we've generated so much interest from students across the country, and also a little bit across the world. With our astronaut applications, we had applicants from Canada and an applicant from Japan. So
I mean, I even
It's-
remember like I saw we had like multiple research proposals
Yes.
from like different countries.
We are an
too. It was, like,
international
crazy.
research organization because of Bolivia.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's amazing how far we've come in 11 months and how far we'll continue to go. And hopefully one day we will be like those well-established analogs like Biosphere 2, High Seas, Mars Desert Research Station with a high fidelity facility. Actually, I don't know if high fidelity is the right word. That might be for audio more, but a high-end facility that really allows for that simulated experience of you're in an isolated habitat that depends on its own life support systems. And hopefully when we do establish that, it'll be majority student developed.
Yeah.
Like designed, developed, maybe not built. I don't know if that's legal, but
I do think that that student aspect does bring a lot of it forward as well. I mean, the fact that that it's all students, right? It takes a lot of accountability. We have to make sure, you know, you have to do a lot of research. You have to make sure that you're doing it right. We're like looking at so many other analogs and making sure we want to follow and be, you know, high quality like those. Like before I was a flight controller here too, I was the medical psychological trainer for the analog astronauts. And a lot of what me and Soha Ali did is we had to keep looking at what different like space programs and what different analogs try to do for training. Like what type of training are you supposed to give that they would need there, right? And I think, you know, letting students like take all these opportunities, it really opens their minds. It's like, oh, now I'm in charge of this, now I have to do it, you know? It's like, you really take charge of your own thing, you bring in more ideas, and I feel like that type of individuality is really gonna be important when they're going to be applying for jobs and everything.
Exactly.
That they are able to say, this is what I want to get done, this is what we will get done.
Yeah. Well, now reeling back a little bit into the mission a little bit more, let's talk about what we anticipate happening today and a little bit tomorrow during the mission. I mean, today, when you arrived, I think the astronauts were still going through a simulated emergency and completing the motions of that. Occasionally we would get a communication that from the habitat giving us a timestamp and explaining what they were doing to address the situation. I mean, they were woken up by a simulated life support emergency that was causing depleting oxygen levels, and they had to take things into their own hands, and Commander Galloway suited up and exited the habitat for a short period of time before being instructed to come back in, and they had to solve some math problems to kind of add a little bit more rigor to addressing the situation instead of just kind of playing pretend and saying what they would probably do during an actual emergency. They actually had to solve some problems to fix the issue, and they were able to do that and go back to sleep. But because of that wake up, they have to take some naps. I mean, I wouldn't want to be up that early, would you?
Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, but when it comes to this type of thing, you know, in real space missions too, you don't know what's going to happen. You know, these emergencies can happen at any time, and the most important thing is being able to adapt towards it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, tomorrow we'll have the footage from today's interview that they'll be recording with questions about that experience. So they'll be able to talk about what they did exactly on their habitat side, because we weren't able to know everything. We were only able to know when they would relay a transmission to us. We don't have our cameras operational in there, so having that interview inside from, or perspective from them on that situation will really help us understand how this autonomy kind of works between habitat and Earth. But we'll also be asking them about how they stay positive during situations like that, especially when you're woken up in the middle of your sleep. I wouldn't want to be woken up. I know the alarm that they used was a kazoo. So
I mean, it'll be really fun, like hearing their individual experiences, you
Yeah.
know, what they think and
I'm
how
really
they feel
excited.
about everything, you know?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that downlink of those videos to hear what they have to say. Furthermore, today they have some interesting things planned for them. I know that they have a battery bleed out test. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it's something that the engineers will be doing along with a couple other of the crew members, but primarily the engineers. So we have some questions about that in their interview uplink, and hopefully we will get some insight into what a battery bleed out is. That doesn't sound good, but it's a test, so I'm sure it's to help prepare for something if there was an emergency. There will also be camera troubleshooting. So, I mean, as you know, and as the stream knows, there's been a lot of issues with our cameras in the habitat, but Commander Galloway is going to go and troubleshoot some of those issues and hopefully get that back up today. I know I'm hoping to see the habitat a little bit more.
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, it's like interesting when you see all the different perspectives, like all the different views of the habitat. You're like, oh, look at that, what that person's doing right now. You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of fun to be able to, it's like our little lab rats. No, they're not lab rats. They're there by choice, and they are having a big sleepover, honestly. Every time I've been able to speak with them, and every time I get footage of them, it always looks like they're having a good time. So I'm really excited to see what they do today. Haven't been able to see what they've been doing, but hopefully those cameras will be back up later on and we'll be able to see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, hopefully soon we'll get the audio too, and then everybody can be like hearing and seeing everything that's what's going on.
I'm excited for that, yeah, because we also have our mission control voice loops audios that you would be able to hear. So you'd be able to hear us communicating with the habitat, with our flight director in live time, so that we can get that full perspective of both mission control and habitat. The astronauts will also be working on helmet repairs later on. I mean, as you know, some of the helmets have been having some issues, but they're gonna repair those today so that hopefully there won't be more issues throughout the mission with those helmets. They'll have some nap time to recover from that early morning malfunction, and they'll be working on that cognitive control experiment. Do you know much about that? I know you've worked closely with Soha. I don't know if you have any insights into what that kind of looks like.
Yeah, I'm not too far deep into it, but just know kind of like the gist of like, generally what they're testing is they want to see the cognition over time with these analog astronauts and see what these kind of confined spaces will do over time to how they think in real time. Right? Because especially when we get to those longer space missions and you're in that type of environment for such a long period of time, we got to know if how they think is declining or not and what we can do to fix that. And that's going to be really important.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the outcomes of that research. Well, I think we're going to wrap up today. We don't have any questions from the audience. Again, if you're ever wanting to ask a question, just leave it in our live stream chats and we'll get to them at a Q&A segment. Those Q&A segments, you can leave questions live, but they won't really start unless if there's questions prior, because we don't want to waste time necessarily just waiting and waiting. So if you have your questions, leave them as time goes on and we'll do our best to answer those.
And please feel free to leave like any questions that you have about the analog, like the habitat, the research, anything that's going on. If you have any questions, we would love to answer anything that you have.
Our favorite colors, that kind of thing. Anything you have to ask, we'll be here to answer it. Funny, serious, curious, any kind of questions that you want to ask, we'll be here. We thank you for tuning in to learn about C1 Thalassa today on this Monday morning. And we can't wait to share more updates with you as the mission progresses. Join us tomorrow around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where we will be joined by Herb Baker, an author and former NASA employee of 42 years, who will be on the talk show sharing some of his experiences. Don't forget to Thalask About It, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Have a good day.